Welcome to Monday Live on Cake Calories and why they don't count. So I'm going to share with you why they don't count. But let me know, how's your Monday going? What is happening? It's quite dark and rainy, so I know everyone's getting that kind of hibernation mode vibe. And that was one thing. If you've got an advent calendar, maybe your parents have bought you one, maybe your partner's bought you an advent calendar, whatever it is, have a little check out of the calorie content of your advent calendar. Each chocolate might not be that much, but when you add it up over the 24 days, yeah, it's going to contribute to your Christmas calorie count. Let's call it that. Your Christmas calorie count for sure. My husband's got one as well. My mum bought me one and bought my husband an advent calendar, and his calories is significantly less than mine. Despite I'd argue it's probably pure quality chocolate, but yeah, check the calorie count on your advent calendar. You might be surprised by how much extra calories you're going to clock up with that tiny little chocolate over 24 days. Hey Grant, how you doing? But anyway, that's not the reason I am on here today. The reason I'm on here, remember hashtag replay if you are catching the replay, is to talk about cake calories and why they don't count. Now, it's pretty straightforward, but you might be like, what? But for me, they don't count. And if my clients have cake, they don't count. The reason they don't count is because we can use it to punish ourselves. So we can use it as trade off. Oh, I've had that piece of cake, that slice of Rocky Road. Oh, I shouldn't have had it. Now I've blown my calories for the day, so I'm going to have a smaller lunch or I might have a lighter dinner. So what we end up doing is not eating whole foods because we've had the sugary cake. And that is a knock on. It's a knock on in terms of if you're then reducing your calorie count overall for the day for your whole foods, you're going to have a knock on in terms of your hunger levels, your energy levels, and it's just going to send you completely off piece with what you're trying to do and achieve. And it's also because of the whole kind of association like cake is bad, sugar is bad, oh, these are like junk food, we shouldn't be having these foods. If you want to have it, own it. Now, obviously, it's a different conversation if you're having it regularly. So if you build up a cake habit 2-3 times a week, then obviously that's going to be a different conversation because the amount of calories in that is going to catch up with you if you're looking to lose weight. But if you're having a cake once a week, just because you fancy it, it's not going to be any big shakes. But if you're constantly doing it, then obviously it is going to have an impact on your healthy weight. But I want to move away from this association, and it's a bad thing to have because then that makes you want to have it more. It's that it kind of like sins, the whole language around sins and junk food. It's just like, no, it's not the case. If you want to have cake, eat it, enjoy it, own it. But if you're having it and then cut on calories in terms of what you're eating whole food wise in your other meals, then that is not positive because that's going to catch up with you. And how will that catch up with you? Well, that can look like you munching at night, feeling hungry. Could you be sitting there with your belly rumbling, absolutely starving, and just not feeling your body? So then what happens at the weekend? You end up overindulgence. Cake in moderation, exactly, Grant. So have the cake, enjoy it, but just don't stress over it or feel guilty afterwards. And I know many of us can use it as a bit of a comfort food, right? We associate cake. What's the words with cake? Celebration, treat, and festivities. And it's that whole thing when someone brings out a cake, it's like, oh, I mean, when I used to live in Leith, there was about 7 or 8 cake shops around me. Like across the road, there was Mario's, round the corner there was Mimi's, and then there was a pastry selection and Hobbs, and there was so many cake shops in the area I used to live in. That's not why I moved. But yeah, there is so many cakes everywhere you go. There is cake overload. And it's because one, people like make a lot of money from it, right? It's sugar, it's flour, it's easy to produce, and they make a lot of money for it, and people are more likely to spend on cake than they are fitness class. I see in so many free groups people saying, oh, can I get a cheap class? I'm looking for a cheap fitness class. And they'll be the same people that nip into Starbucks and buy, one of their walnut banana loaves and a coffee and pay like over £10, but yet they complain if a fitness class is like 45 minutes and it's costing them £12. So it's that whole thing. People are willing to pay for cake, but they're also punishing themselves afterwards by the negative talk, right? Oh, why can't I just say no? Oh, I'm blowing the diet now. I might as well give up and just go for it. Why can't I just say no? But there's also the peer pressure side of it. So Grant's just told us that he likes cake in moderation, but he likes it. So now I know that Grant likes cake. So if I'm going to go and catch up with Grant, I think, oh, where shall I meet Grant? Oh, he likes cake. So let's go to maybe, Cafe Nero, maybe a Starbucks, somewhere he's going to get a nice slice of cake because that's what Grant likes. But it's that whole thing about how we perceive ourselves and how we portray that image to other people. So if you're known for liking cakes, liking chocolate, the chances are that's what you're going to get gifted. Come up to Christmas, birthdays, that's what you're going to get gifted because people like to buy you things you like. So there's also a bit of re-establishing the boundaries. So for Grant, because he likes cake, like say I might think, oh, we'll go somewhere who likes cake. Well, actually, no, let's not do that. Let's instead meet up and go out for a walk, catch up walking around the park, go for a walk with a dog, whatever that may be, to move the association from my catch-ups being about cake and coffee. So it's that thing about you do have an option. Now, let's say you're in the corporate environment, as I used to be, or, there's quite a lot of networking groups I'm involved in, and a lot of time there's a big pile of cakes. You might have seen my picture today. A big pile of cakes on offer on the table, all different ones just sitting there for everyone to eat. And in that social environment, you can feel pressurized to have them. So you're not feeling rude, that you're not being a bit different. You want to fit into the group. You might feel a bit socially awkward. So you don't want to say no. You don't want to be judged. So you want to be part of the group and you say yes to it. Or it could just be that you're sitting there and that cake is at the corner of your eye calling your name. Have me, eat me, have me. And you're like, I don't really want it, but it's there. So I'm going to go and eat it, right? So it's a social pressure depending on the environment you're in too. And one of the best ways to get out of that is having what I call emergency snacks. Now, emergency snacks are things like your Eat Natural bars, your raw Eat Natural bars, or things that are like nuts. Some have got chocolate, some haven't. And they just allow you to feel like you're actually having something without missing out. So you feel like I can take part in these events, I can take part in the catch-ups, but not have to have loads of cakes that, yes, I might enjoy it initially, but I'm going to feel rubbish afterwards and it doesn't align with my goal. It doesn't align where I want to be. I don't want to be having the cake because I don't want to feel rubbish afterwards. I don't want to be having the cake because actually I want to lose weight and it's not going to help me get there. So it's that whole thing about going like, why do I want to have the cake? Is it going to serve me mentally and physically? And if it's not, then I'm not going to have it. Therefore, I'm going to have alternatives where it's an Eat Natural bar, the raw natural bars. There's so many different ones that you can have, even having a little pot of fruit, whatever that is. I'm quite like clients that say to me, oh, but Julie, I feel so rude for saying no. No one can argue when you say I don't want to feel rubbish afterwards if the sugar low. No one can argue with that. Like, it's your choice around how you want to feel and what you want to feed yourself. So if someone's offering you, it's not you being rude, it's just saying, no, I don't want to have that thing. I don't want to feel rubbish afterwards. And if you're out one-to-one, that peer pressure of go and share a cake with you, share a bit of cake. So no, really, I'm good. I just really don't want it. It just doesn't work with me. Nobody can argue with that. And if they're still pushing you, just say, look, I'm not going to say it anymore. I just don't want the cake. It's not you being rude. It's just you simply saying, I'm choosing not to eat that thing. And then, Dave, if you were out with a vegan or a vegetarian, you wouldn't be forcing a mistake, right? So it's that whole thing about you setting your boundary about what you want to eat, what you don't want to eat, thinking about how you want to feel versus how you don't want to feel, and making the choices based on that. And that's why we don't count cake calories, because we're having cake based on how we want to feel, the choice we want to make. If we want to have it, enjoy it, we will, but we're not going to have it and then beat ourselves up afterwards. We're not going to have it and then cut back on our whole protein foods, have a smaller dinner, have a smaller lunch because we had that cake. We're not going to punish our bodies for eating the cake. And that's why cake calories don't count. And I do the same thing with clients, and I do the same things around alcohol with clients too. We don't punish the body, nutrition, on the basis of having a treat, a sweet treat, a cake, whatever that might be. So that is why we don't count calories. And when it comes to cake, sometimes we might not count calories at all. I do work very intuitively with clients, but in general, what we don't do is swap out whole healthy foods that are going to fuel your body, make you feel well, for the 20% of things that aren't so great. So it's simplicity. It's really not hard. A lot of people try to make weight loss and calorie counting and complexity around food, around nutrition. And I'm here to strip it all back and just share with you the truth. Yes, if you're having cake every day, it's going to be a challenge. If you're having biscuits every day, it's going to be a challenge. If we're coming up to mince pie season, if you're buying yourself a box of 6 mince pies and eating them all yourself, of course that's going to have an impact. Your advent calendar has got around 500 calories and there's 24 little doors. So obviously you're just having that for December, but what else are you having over and above that? So rather than thinking about, oh my God, I need to cut back because I had the cake, stop punishing your body, eat the whole foods. And that's what's going to stop you overindulging when it comes to the cake. So just think about the situations around a cake. What boundaries can you set? What are the things you associate with having cake, and how can you change that up? Go out for a walk with your friends instead. If you're at a networking event, see if there's any like pots of fruit to buy, banana, something a little bit different. But ultimately, if you want to have it, own it, as long as you're not feeling bad about it, as long as you're not stripping back anything else from your diet because you've had that cake. Have it, enjoy it. That's what it's there for. Otherwise, just eat normally, eat healthy. And if you're struggling with what that looks like for you, drop me a note in the DMs and see how I can help you with that. It's all about the truths. So stop being bad about the cake and just enjoy it. Take it as it is. Obviously, if you're having it constantly, it's a different issue. But like Grant said, cake in moderation. All right, team, hope that helps. That's why cakes don't count as calories. And let me know any questions about that. Let me know your takeaway. Let me know your thoughts. If you completely disagree with me, always happy to drop in the chats and hashtag replay. And I shall catch you guys on Wednesday. Take care. Have a good one.